You know, there's an old worn out saying, a picture paints a thousand words, but in my mind, that just scratches the surface of what a picture is trying to tell you. Usually, the stories wrapped around a piece of art are bigger than the art themselves, and in my art is no exception. Until now, I have had no way for me to share these stories with you effectively, but finally, they are all compiled together in the complete guide and surreal stories of the life and art of Suchiu, otherwise known as the Wizard of Art. Hi, I'm artist Ronald Suchiu. Let me take you down the path of the creation of my limited edition art book, The Wizard of Art. But first, here's a little bit about myself for those of you who don't know me yet and are just being introduced to my Suchiu art collection. I'm probably one of the most diverse artists you'll ever have a chance to know. Throughout my career, I've never allowed myself to be intimidated by exploring different styles and subjects. Diversity now has become a natural trademark of my vast portfolio of work. Although some gallery owners consider that to be a negative, I prefer to call it what it truly is to me, the most positive form of freedom an artist can have. But because my approach to art has been so unique and diverse, I've often found it very difficult to explain my work or bring collectors along the hundreds of creative journeys that have become the natural evolution of who I am as an artist. So that is exactly why this book, The Wizard of Art, is so important to me. After 8 years of writing, planning, and preparation, it's finally here, presented in a beautiful hardcover first edition, complete with some very special features for your enjoyment. But first, let me take you a little bit deeper into my life as an artist. After my first 3 professional aviation pieces, people were actually already starting to call me an aviation artist. Although I've done many aircraft paintings and enjoyed them thoroughly, I never wanted to be put into any box. There was far too much in the world for me to be painting. This led me to a decision that would define the rest of my career. So I started doing other works that allowed me to be free with my subject choices, where I could focus much more on storytelling. In time, I found success and I was able to partner with many celebrities such as David Suzuki, Dan Aykroyd, George Lucas, Jane Goodall, Sting, and many, many more world-renowned characters. I could have never imagined in those earliest days the powerful portfolio and the astonishing list of celebrity partners, along with invitations to amazing events that were definitely beyond my wildest dreams. To this day, when people describe my body of work, they usually remark on how diverse it is. And while this can be a blessing, in reality, it can also be quite the curse. As an example of how diversity can be an issue in the art world, back in 2017, I was working with an agent who was trying to get my work into some major galleries. One particular gallery management said that they would take me on as their official aviation artist, but they insisted from that moment forward I would only be able to market myself based on my aviation art. This situation with the gallery posed a problem. Unlike other artists, my work is extremely diverse, which makes it challenging to market, but those who collect Suchiu art do so because of the stories I put into them. Yet it's hard to tell these stories to everyone who is introduced to my work. So, while looking for a solution to this problem, I recalled a conversation I had many years prior. A long time ago, a very good friend of mine, Brian Leslie, and I came up with a very important realization. With the wide range of artistic projects I was creating and the growing number of new collectors being brought to my art, we recognized there was something definitely missing. Only those who became part of my Suchiu art community from the start truly experienced the full story. They not only understood what I had become as an artist, but also the deeper forces behind the magnetic connection that drew so many people toward my art. So we asked ourselves, what was the missing piece? That's when Brian introduced an idea we simply called the Big Book. This book would become the gateway, giving all my collectors equal knowledge of my work no matter when they first discovered it. It would reveal a creative journey, my evolving vision, and the hundreds of stories shaped through a lifetime of artistic adventure. As I was compiling what would become this project, the concept grew into something far more meaningful. The title evolved as well, transforming itself into The Wizard of Art, a name whose origin is shared in the opening pages of the book. What became as a simple idea ultimately became a journey of passion, reflection, and creation, one that I can claim as the most challenging project of my lifetime. So, for over 8 years, I collected hundreds of high-resolution images, I wrote over 140,000 words, and I compiled them all into an extremely high-quality first edition book, one of hand-stitched quality using the best processes and materials available. So when all was said and done, we produced 2 slight variations of this gorgeous art book. 1,250 signed and numbered copies were designated as the Classic Edition. And for my most savvy art collectors, I've incorporated into 250 premier copies of this unique project a high-quality sheet of art paper inserted at the time of production. This allows me the ability to add a personalized hand-drawn and signed sketch in collaboration with the collector. Thank you for joining me and watching my video. I hope that someday you will have as much enjoyment viewing The Wizard of Art as I had making it. And if you're ever in my neighborhood, stop in and I promise I'll take you on a personal tour of my gallery.
Easy, Skippy.